been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I ought to slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, folks? This is Tristan and Tony with the Zero Duck 30. Actually, that's confusing because it's not the Zero Duck 30 podcast. No, I ain't starting shit over. It's the One Hell of a Life outdoor podcast now.
Yeah, that's right.
Used to saying the Zero Duck 30 podcast. Anyway.
Well, and I'll tell you, we're still just a little jacked up over what we're going to talk to you guys about. So
yeah, that's true. Got us a little freaking twisted, but
yeah. We had devil came down to Georgia and took our soul.
Yeah, that's a good assessment of it. And today is let's see here. Today is the Thursday the 13th of April, and turkey season opened this past weekend in Georgia, and Tony and I went out, and I guess the first night, we
went out right after work.
Yeah.
Just flew up there.
Mm-hmm. And you can kind of go into the first night. We go up there. And, we got to walk about a mile to where we're hunting, and then what? Yeah,
so to preface that a little bit, we had went there last year, and, we don't know much about turkey hunting, to be quite honest with you guys. And we just knew, okay, we want to get in some open fields. We knew where some food plots were and thought, well, hey, let's just go check them out, And our whole thing last year was to get there in the evening and kind of see what they're doing to set up for something in the morning. Well, we got out there, saw a bunch of turkeys, whatever, and actually played it really safe, stayed way off of them, threw a couple calls at them. They're public land birds, and as we've learned, they're just a little bit more skittish. And so fast forward to this year, and Tristan, I said, hey, when we get off work tonight, I said, look, 5 o'clock, boom, we're leaving. And he's like, all right, deal. So we drive an hour and 15 minutes or whatever, get up there, hike our butts out there, and we're walking up in the exact same spot as last year. Within 5 yards, Tristan goes, there's turkeys out in the field. And I go, get the out of here, dude. No way. And we start looking, and there's one, and he goes, oh, yeah, he's a gobbler. And I'm like, yeah? And he's like, yeah. I go, what kind of beard's he got? And he's like, I don't know, just got a beard, And then we ended up seeing 4 or 5 more.
Mm-hmm.
And after he left, so he went out the field to the northwest and left, and they came all the way up to the front corner of the field close to where we were at, where we had just set up a decoy and threw out like maybe 2 calls over the course of like a couple hours, not nothing. And they just kind of wandered off.
Yeah, and the whole thought about that is like, again, we're not the most experienced turkey hunters, but who we're going to have on later in this podcast, Kade with Delta Thunder Outfitters.
Our personal turkey assistant.
Yeah, he's a huge turkey hunter. So, we're kind of running ideas by him and stuff. And he's like, listen, in the evenings, turkeys aren't very vocal and stuff. You don't want to try to call and stuff, like you would in the morning. But anyway.
And it's public land.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went out there and, didn't have any success, but we talked to Kade and came up with the game plan for the next evening. And right after work, zoom, we flew up there. Well, we get up there and got up there, and turkeys are in the field. And we're like, gosh, darn it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cade's like, well, just throw out a call, get hidden, throw out a call, see if anything happens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, me and Tristan moved to a different spot because we didn't want to call like right where we were set up the day before, because obviously that didn't work. So we bear crawled. And I got a funny video of Tristan bear crawling. But anyway, we went over and nothing happened. And we looked out there, and Tristan said, oh, they're out there strutting. There's a couple out there strutting. And there's like 4 or 5 of them. And they came real close to the front edge of the field. Still, they're 75, 80, maybe 90 yards away. And we watched them walk off to the right. Well, we don't know, because we can't see the whole field because of all these trees, if they're still out there or not. So we waited for like, I don't know how long. And then I snuck up there to see if there was any in the field, didn't see any. So we're like, we know where we're going right now. So we go right over to this left edge of the field, thinking that, hey, this gobbler the evening before came that way, and those other turkeys actually worked a little bit over there too. And so we went over there, and there's a big deadfall and a ridge that went straight up to the left. And it actually worked out for camouflage purposes. It's its best. I mean, we were above the field, if you can imagine that, sitting about 20 yards off the field edge and probably 30 yards from the decoy. And Tristan's hidden behind this deadfall that's laid across at an angle, and another deadfall. He's like tucked in between two of them and just laying there with his gun sniper ready on the decoy. And I'm behind the stump part of the tree. So I'm like, I can't be seen at all. I'm totally blocked so that I could film. And I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. So we're sitting there and I hear something off to our left, crunching, and I start looking down the field edge as far as I could see and just see this head pop up and start coming down the field edge. And I'm like, my heart just starts beating. I felt like...
Dude, I look down and I just see you going, pointing left.
Yeah, because I obviously couldn't turn around and be like, hey, there's a turkey. So I was just like, I didn't even turn around because I didn't even want to move really. So I just like pointed, and luckily you saw me. And a hen goes out in the middle of the field, but the turkey's walking, or the tom's walking right down the field edge. And
coming right towards us.
Right towards the decoy. And the way that we were set up, like you were saying on this deadfall, I didn't really have, maybe I could have blasted through some brush, but I had all this brush covering me on the left. And basically the decoy from my position was straight out in front. So as long as it cleared straight out in front,
and we played that on purpose, because once we set up and saw that, because we're predicting them coming from that way, we want that cover.
Right.
All the way until that 10-2 window or whatever,
Exactly. So we're thinking that's going to be where we're going to shoot him, and he, maybe, classic, needed 5 more yards or whatever, maybe something like that. And he just, got a real red head and it started chirping a little bit or whatever.
Well, you can see it in the video. He's just walking, pecking. And then all of a sudden he looks right at the decoy and was like, no.
Yeah. So anyway, he starts walking into the woods, and about that time I was like, the way I was set up with the brush, I didn't really have a good way to, like, there's brush on in front of my gun, so I had to like pull it back and get it around, which I knew he would see me. So he starts walking up into this woods, and I don't know, maybe it's 35-40 yards. And you just happened to be back there, and you were trying to get us to do 1, 2, 3 shoot, and just Hail Mary on this bird. And
it was awkward because he was walking up a ridge to our left.
Right.
So he went back the way he came, cut into the woods towards us, but at least 40 yards over there.
Yeah. And, we both like shouldered, and I was just about to pull the trigger on it and like blasting through absolute brush, just hoping, that something would work out. And about that time you were like, 1, 2, 3 shoot, what you hear on the video, and I just shot right after that. But of course he flew off, and we
I was laying down against the hill on my left side, taking a shot.
And I smoked a tree, like literally almost took out this whole sapling. And I got this turkey choke from my Benelli, and we don't have anywhere around here to go pattern our, guns.
It was big around that beer can.
And, there's nowhere I could go pattern it. So I was like, oh, it'll be all right. I'll use this, whatever shells that I watched from this video that worked good, and use this choke or whatever. I think it's a Kicks choke or something, or maybe a Jebs or something. And, it about blasted through that sapling. So I was like, yeah, it's pretty dialed in.
Yeah, we found a couple feathers, but hindsight's 20/20, and Kade told us, hey, should have probably just let it go. And I said, so treat it like same way I would deer hunting, and that's what I would have done deer hunting. If the deer came like that and didn't present a shot, that we rushed shots. I did for sure on that turkey last night, but it's just out of disparity, and we don't know what we're doing, and we're just being honest about it.
Yeah, when we were walking out last night, I was just, of course, when you miss something, you run back all these scenarios in your head, how you could have done it better or whatever. And I've done it 1,000,000 times. I'm sure you've done it 2,000,000 times with deer hunting. And you just think about, man, I wish I would have done that. Probably would have worked out. And, you're running these things through your head. And, I was thinking back on it, and it's like, man, if I would have had like a frame of reference, like to redo it again, maybe I would have pulled quicker and, you know, risked him seeing me just so I can get a shot off before he got in the woods or whatever it may be. But point being is, with turkey hunting, we don't have any frame of reference on like what you can get away with, you know, what's worked in the past. So we're just, you know, first time going, you know, not the first time going out. We've gone out a few times, but you know,
we knew enough that we were like, dude, he's getting ready to blast.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just, when they start doing that, as you all know, the turkey hunt, you know, they back out and they start doing bark, bark,
yeah, he's getting ready to leave.
yeah. So, but no, it was a great experience for us. And I mean, we can't be more happy with our success. I mean, you know, we went out and did
or lack thereof.
Yeah. I mean, but
relative success.
But you know, how many times have we went out and tried turkey hunt and didn't even hear anything, didn't see anything, didn't even find a track, nothing, you know, and we were able to go out there and within 24 hours, basically, you know, get on them. So, but it was fun, you know, and we'll have to call him bald ass or something like that because he probably got shot in the butt. I don't know, but it was a good time.
Yeah, I definitely get why people are hooked on it because it felt like I was getting ready to shoot my first deer. Like I kind of felt like I was going to pass out for a second.
I told Kade, he told me that he was dying.
Yeah, I kind of felt like I was going to pass out for a second.
Something's wrong with my heart.
And I had to reel myself back in. I'm like, all right, you're good. Just get ready to shoot this thing, you know, and then, yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so.
We just wanted to share that with you guys. We bring you the reality of hunting, and we don't know, we're not good turkey hunters. And if y'all want to just like start messaging us and telling us everything that we start doing, just please feel free to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll share it on here. And if any of you guys are, you know, turkey experts and want to share some tips for us to share, or even want to potentially come on the podcast, just hit us up. But yeah, next, you know, here in a second, we're gonna have a true turkey expert, and Kade Weatherford just got back from a Kansas trip and some other things, so I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah, no, Kade smokes turkeys, dude. He does, and it's just, you know, even though he runs Delta Thunder Outfitters, his favorite thing to hunt, he'll tell you 100 times is our turkeys, and he travels several states and is very successful every year in all of those states, and does a really good job. And anyway, we wanted to have him on and have him talk about his success. And it's turkey season, man.
That's right.
As waterfowlers, we experience all kinds of extreme weather conditions. Stay bone dry and warm with Frog Togs hunting gear. You can check them out at frogtogs.com or at frogtogshunt on Instagram.
All right, guys, we're back, and we got Kade Weatherford on for another installment of Keeping It Real with Kade. But this time, you know, we've changed the name of the podcast, and we're trying to encompass different things. So this time we're having Kade on to not talk about ducks, talk about his favorite bird he likes to kill, and that is turkeys. What's up, Kade?
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, no, this guy's going out and smoking some turkeys. Like last year, you know, I'm talking to him, I was like, I thought that I didn't even know turkey season started yet, and he already shot several of them, like in a couple states. And I was like, "What in the hell?" So anyway, but he knows what he's doing. He's been our personal assistant, and guiding us along our novice level of turkey hunting. And we thought it'd be cool to have him on and just kind of tell you all about his different strategies he uses, and you know, if you're new to turkey hunting, kind of like what you can get into as far as like what you need for setup and stuff, and just kind of go from there, and then also just shoot the bullshit.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I don't guide. Let me just put this out here. I do not guide turkey hunts. I like to shoot them too much to guide people. But I did guide Tony and Tristan over the phone.
This is true.
Week.
Yes.
This past week.
This is true. This is very true. This is very true. So, but man, so what, you know, talk about like what got you into turkey hunting, and you know, why you love it so much. What got you hooked, and what makes you chase those things so much?
Well, I mean, turkey hunt, you know, turkey hunting, it takes a lot of, at least where I live at. Now, I'm not saying this for the whole country, because there are places that it's relatively a lot easier to kill a turkey or hunt a turkey, you know. states like Kansas and Nebraska. I got buddies of mine in Illinois that you talk to, and they'll be like, "Man, killing a turkey's easy." But I promise
Wow.
you, if they came out here to Arkansas and tried to kill one, I guarantee you they couldn't get it done, unless it was just pure luck. They couldn't get. There's no way they could get it done on the first day.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. My grandfather, he's a big turkey hunter. I killed one when I killed my first one a long time ago. I believe it was 2004. It was 2004. I killed my first turkey because it was also the same year that I killed my first buck.
Dang.
I killed my first buck that winter, and it was 2004. And yeah, I don't know. I shot one. At the time, I didn't realize how big of a deal it was back then. Where we hunt at in southern Missouri. See, here, let me just go ahead and put something down. In Arkansas, where I live at, there's not many turkeys. If you see a turkey track, you have a good hunt. I mean, that's if you hear one, you've really done something, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, and what's your
it's
season,
not-
like 9 days or something?
Yeah, our season is, I think it's 9 days it goes. So our season starts on April the 17th and it goes out on the 27th in the zone that I hunt in, which is zone 1. There's 2 zones in Arkansas, and the zone that I got ground to have a chance to kill a turkey on is in zone 1, and it comes in April 17th and it goes out on April the 27th. So I think that's 9 or 10 days, something like that. But anyway, and then the rest of the state, it's open from the 17th of April to the May the 7th. And I know that because Missouri season, my mom owns some land in southern Missouri. And just to tell you how close to southern Missouri we're talking, when you're standing at the gate, you're standing in Arkansas. When you walk through the gate, you're in Missouri.
Wow. Can't get much closer than that.
I mean, that's how southern it is. And there's enough turkeys to hunt up there. You know, when I was a kid, there was turkeys all over the place up there. And I mean, you'd see them regularly. You know, if you went driving around, it's all cow pastures and mountains and hills and everything like that. And when I was a kid, I just remember driving around, you know, in Missouri, you can only hunt till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we drove around, you know, in the afternoon and just looked at turkeys. I mean, I remember doing that. And it's so weird because you come back here to where I live, right here in Northeast Arkansas, you don't see any turkeys. I mean, none, nowhere. And yeah,
I've never seen one.
But yeah, I mean, so you know, I got that little bit of ground that I hunt in Missouri, but it's also an hour and 15, hour and a half away from my house, so it's not like I can just go hunt it every morning, you know.
Right.
But just to tell you how much I like to hunt them, you know, if they're not gobbling on the little bit of ground that I got here in Arkansas, you know, I bought this 3.0 Duramax diesel. It gets phenomenal gas mileage, fuel mileage. It's a diesel, so it doesn't have gas, but just pretty much for that. I don't tell a lot of people that, but I mean, that's the main reason I got it, so I can go up there and come back. I can go up there and hunt and come back on a quarter of a tank, you know, so.
Right. Now, you know, we always talk about, you know, how we'll, you know, drive 7.5 hours to 7 hours to come duck hunting Arkansas. And I was talking to you the other day when you got back from Kansas, and you said it was, what, 9 hours?
9 hours and 20 minutes is where how far it was to where we went.
So it's our duck perspective is your turkey perspective.
Yep.
I get some people, some people got different preferences. Mine is I will go to the ends of the earth to kill a turkey. If I had to go to if I had to go to the North Pole, I guess I'd start walking. If I ran out of fuel, I'd start walking.
Well, that's basically a penguin, right? You go out there and shoot a penguin.
Something if they had a beard and spurs. Man.
Well, they got some flippers and probably taste good. I don't know.
Why don't you go hunt peacocks? That'd be like the queen of turkeys is the peacock.
Dude, isn't there? What's that turkey
That's what they do.
Right. What's that turkey, Kade, that's it's not in like the slam or whatever, but maybe it's in like the world
You
slam?
talking about the one that's in like Mexico or whatever?
Yeah, that's real badass looking.
Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but I'm sure you'll have somebody
The peacock made
on
me
this
think of
video.
it.
Yeah, I knew it. I went to college with a guy that killed one, and he had it mounted in his house, and I asked him what it was, and he said he went to Mexico down there and killed it. But I don't know what they're called. I don't know. I know they look more exotic than they do like a Eastern or a Rio or a Merriam or Osceola,
Well,
they look a lot different.
we're recording video on this one and to try to get back, putting the podcast on YouTube, and maybe I can find a picture of one and flash it up on the video.
Ooh,
And put the
dude.
put the name with it. Put the name with it too.
Oh my gosh. Where's my glasses?
What?
Bro, look.
I
this
know
is the
they're
most beautiful thing ever.
I know, they're badass. So that's what made me think of a peacock.
What's it called? It's called a how do you even say that? It's called a I need my glasses. Can you see that?
Taco Bell.
It's called a
Bell turkey?
Tacalusa Bell.
Yeah, that's probably the
Taco
freaking
Bell turkey.
dude. It looks like a Taco Bell
What we
turkey.
call them here in the States.
Hey, y'all tell me that doesn't look like a Taco Bell turkey. It looks just like
Boom, ring the bell.
it looks just like a Taco Bell turkey.
Dude, that thing is incredible.
What they got?
It's called a peacock
Wow.
turkey.
You shoot when they come with a side of cinnamon twist or something.
Yeah, bro. Dude, something like
Are
that.
you kidding me? What in the hell?
Dude.
I've never seen this bird.
Yeah,
How come I've watched every
I don't even
single,
know. I don't know why I've seen one. But
I've watched
seen one.
every single National Geographic, Discovery Channel, and BET nature show in history of the world. I've watched every one,
Yeah.
and this bird has never been on there.
I don't know. I'll tell you. It's because you didn't go to Taco Bell.
That's right.
Anyway. Yeah. But so I guess should we get into? I don't know, Kate. I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to get into the Kansas trip first, or do you want to get into like some tips and tricks for new turkey hunters?
Nah. Whatever you guys want to do. This is what I love to talk about stuff like. I love the turkey hunt. I mean,
All right.
absolutely
So,
love it.
what is tell us your top 3 favorite turkey hunts? Tell us a story. Tell a story like we're sitting on the couch. We're all sitting here having a
Man.
beer, and you got a story to tell about a turkey hunt. What's your
Well-
proudest turkey hunt?
My proudest turkey hunt was probably the biggest one I've ever killed.
Like you outsmarted him and all that stuff.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say we outsmarted this one, but I mean, I did put in a lot of work to kill this one. And I wasn't even supposed to shoot it. One of my really good friends, Colin Whitlatch, and I'll tell him to listen to this podcast because he'll want to hear this.
What up, Colin?
But yeah, so I got a buddy of mine. We used to turkey hunt together all the time. And they used to sell these. So just to tell you how far I know we went, they used to sell these little watch things that told you how many miles you walked and how many steps you took and everything.
Right.
I don't remember what they're called. Yeah, but anyway, I got one for Christmas, and I thought, you know
Fitbit,
what?
probably.
Fitbit.
Yeah, Fitbit. And I don't walk a lot when we're duck hunting, other than to go get the Ranger and then go back to the pit. So like I was like, I'm curious. I said I'm gonna leave it in my turkey hunting vest. So when I got it at Christmas, I went home, I put it in my turkey hunting vest, and I was like, I'm gonna carry it turkey hunting.
Mm-hmm.
So you go forward to that spring. I killed one on a Monday on my mom's farm in Missouri. And I'll tell you, so my grandparents, my mom's parents, they live up there in Missouri. And I stayed at their house, and it was what happened is my mom made me go to prom. And I was pissed off because I didn't want to go to prom because I wanted to go turkey hunting. And it was like the season's only 3 weeks long, so there's only 3 weekends that you can hunt. And I was pissed because I had to go to prom. She made me go to prom,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to miss a day of turkey hunting. So anyway, so I go to prom, and my mom was just swearing up and down, "You're going to love it. You're going to love it. You're going to love it." I was home at like 9:00, 8:45, and I was like, "That freaking sucked. I'll never do that ever again." I said, and I was pissed, and she was like, "Well, I'm sorry." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So," I said, "Here's the deal. I'm not going to ask you. I'm telling you. I'm skipping school on Monday, and I'm going turkey hunting." She goes, "Oh, okay." And she was like, "That's fine with me." I said, "No, you're not understanding. I'm telling you, that's what I'm doing." And she was like, kind of like, I just remember she was so puzzled. She was like, "Okay," like she didn't even want to argue it. And usually she'd be like, "You're not gonna tell me that I'm gonna let you do anything." She was just like, "Okay," like she just kind of backed off. But anyway, so I go up there on a Monday. And I'm pretty sure it was either a Monday or a Tuesday. It was whatever day the weather was good. I looked at the weather, and the weather was going to be perfect on one day.
Mm-hmm.
And on my mom's farm, I know it inside and out for turkeys. I go in there. I go up to my grandparents on that Sunday night or Monday night, whatever night it was, and I stayed at my grandparents' house. I got up there late
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, and I wake up, and it's like 7:00, and I forgot to set my alarm. I'm like, shit.
Oh no!
And I was like, and you can only hunt to 1:00.
Yeah.
It's about a 30-minute drive from their house to the farm. So I come out, my grandmama, she's like, "I got you breakfast cooked and everything." I'm like, she's like, "I figured you want to stay around here." I said, "No, I got a turkey hunt. I got to go." I grabbed my stuff and went out the door. She was like, "Well, it's too late to kill a turkey now, ain't it?" And I said, "Well, it ain't never too late." I said, "You can't kill one if you ain't out there in the woods." And I run out the door, and I just remember I was hammering down on that truck, that GMC I had at the time. I was just letting it eat, getting over to that farm. And I pulled up to the gate. I had the key in my hand when I pulled off the highway to get on the gravel road. I had the key in my hand, went up there, unlocked the gate, pulled through, locked the gate back, parked my truck. A lot of people make this mistake. They call and then they'll walk toward the direction that they call.
Uh-huh.
And I have made this mistake and ran up on a turkey, like straight up, like been walking down the road and he's coming down the road toward me, and then you walk up on him and you're like, "Oh no, there he is." And then they see you, and they see you, you're done. in my experiences, that's how it's been. You know, you bust a turkey, that's over with. You know, you might have somebody out there that disagrees with you, that says no, you can sit down and call them back. I have never had that luck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I played my cards right. I got out of the truck, and it was 8:00 now. You know, 7:30, 7:45, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I slipped around there, and
Do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order.
and I had the video. I'm pretty sure I still got the video on my personal Instagram page. But I slipped around there, and I sat down on top of this ridge, and there's like a big gully, and there's a ridge in the middle of the woods right there. And I knew that the turkeys, they always roost on this ridge. I had a deer stand in there, and I'd see them roost in there all the time. You'd be sitting in there, and there'd just be turkeys fly up and roost right in there. Mm-hmm. So I knew that they'd be right around there. So I just slipped around the pasture and went in the edge of them woods, and I sat down, and I sat there, and I called one time, and it was the most turkeys I've ever heard gobble on that farm. I bet there was 40 different turkeys gobble. They were gobbling at each other, and you could hear them down there. You could hear them in that bottom, and they were just like, you could hear the leaves shuffling around and stuff. They're really loud. You know, it's not like a deer where it's just,
yeah, dude.
You know, they're really loud when they come through the woods.
They sound like a damn train when they come through.
But so I go up there, I kill this turkey. I'm sitting there on the side of this ridge, and I hear something like getting a little bit loud. I mean, I can hear them down there, but I hear one in particular. He's just getting louder. And I looked, and he pops up to my left. Like, I can't see down in this gully, but I can see everything within about 30 yards of me, and then it just drops off.
Mm-hmm.
I see a redhead pop up, and I'm like, is that a gobbler? And he kind of walks up over the top, over that peak right there, and I see a long beard, and he starts to kind of like, he's walking toward me, and then it's like he doesn't see anything, so he starts to walk away. All I could see was the back of his head.
Uh-huh.
And I shot, boom, and he disappeared. And I got up, and I took off running. He was laying right there, and I was like, awesome. So I like went up there to and my mom was telling me, you're going to miss a day of school, not even kill a turkey. I drove right up to her. I tagged the turkey, put it in the back end of my truck. I drove right up to her beauty salon, and there was people. I mean, this is a nice beauty salon she worked at. People, farmers' wives that got a bunch of money and shit. I walked in there, camo, blood all over me and everything, dripping down the back of my pants legs where I had him over my back, and his head was bleeding going down the back. I said, I got one after you told me I wasn't going to. And she goes, oh, and she come out there in the parking lot. You could tell we were the Clampets. She was taking pictures of me, this turkey, in this beauty salon. There's people driving their Range Rovers and their brand new Yukons by, looking at us like we're buck-toothed rednecks and everything. But I didn't care. I was super proud of that. I told you this story to go on to the next story.
Well, hey,
to lead up.
Real quick, that's what my mother-in-law would call country bougie right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
But anyway, so I shoot that turkey, and I go back to school the next day, and my buddy Colin, I'm like, look, I can't shoot one, because like in Missouri, you can't shoot one until like the next week. And I believe that was the second day of season or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So you got to wait 7 days before you can shoot your second one.
Wow.
And I told Colin, I said, look, skip school with me Monday. I'm doing it again. I said, skip school with me on Monday. I said, you won't regret it. I'm like, there's a million damn turkeys down this bottom. Mm-hmm. He's like, what? And I showed him the video. He goes, okay, I'm skipping school. And because I showed him the video. I just took a video of all of them gobbling.
Yeah.
I called one time and then they started gobbling and then they gobbled each other and you could hear them. They were drumming and everything. I mean, you could hear everything. And I mean, it sounded like a turkey farm down in there. But anyway, so we go back, sit in the same spot. And, except we got in there, I wasn't late, nothing like that morning. I mean, we got in there at daylight. And he's like, what do we need to do? We need to hoot. And I said, no, we ain't doing nothing. We're going to sit down. I said, I know they're in here. I said, we're going to sit down. We're not going to do anything. I'm like, when they start doing their thing, we're going to, we'll call a little bit. He goes, all right. So we sit down there, don't hear anything. Some hoot owls start going off in the distance. I hear a turkey gobble, but it ain't, it's not where these turkeys should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I look like a dummy, I hyped them all up for this or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe they're just not, maybe they're just not into it. They're not into it. Maybe they're just not gobbling good today. So anyway, so we sit there and I just remember I got this really nice Cabela's chair that sits real low to the ground. That's what I always sit in. And he's sitting up against a tree right next to me. And I just remember like waking up because I fall asleep. He like nudges me one time. He goes, hey, I said, yeah. He goes, a turkey just gobbled right by us. I said, where? He's like, right down this gully. And it was the same gully that I'd killed that one in the week before.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, all right. I'm like, all right. So I like turned my head the other way and and he like, I could hear in the leaves and I was like, all right, get ready. Cause I was going to let him shoot one.
Yeah.
This gobbler walks down, like we can see down this gully a little bit and that you can see it's a gobbler. I said, you see him? He goes, yeah. And then I look behind him and you can see another one across so you can't see in the bottom of this gully, but you can see on the other ridge in front of you.
Yeah.
And there's another gobbler and he's like starting to follow him. I was like, hold on. I was like, we might double up right here. And I called just real lightly and this front turkey walks right up to us. And when I mean right up to us, I mean 5 feet away.
Oh,
wow.
And we'd already discussed our plan here. I was like, I'm like, we talked about it in the truck on the way there that morning. I was like, if there's one on the right and I'm sitting on the right, I'll shoot the one on the right. You shoot the one on the left. We were talking about that. So we already had that. So this turkey, this other one that's behind him, I can see him, but he can't. And he's on his side. And this one that's 5 feet in front of us is on my side. And I said, can you see him yet? Can you see him yet? I'm whispering. And he goes, no, I can't see him yet. I can't see him yet. And I mean, I don't know how this turkey ain't hearing us because he's just standing there, just looking at us 5 feet away. I said, look. I said, okay, we're going to swap. I said, right when we swap, shoot. He says, all right. I said, 1, 2, 3. And we swapped, and he just obliterated that one right here in front of us. I mean, it looked like a boom, just feathers went everywhere. Turkey didn't even flop, nothing. And I mean, he straight up decapitated this turkey. I mean, just dead. And this other one, like he ducked. He was in that gully and I could see his head and he like ducked his head down. So I got up and stood up and like ran forward to the edge where I could see down it and I could see him running up the ridge right there. And I mean, it was a good shot. I shot him one time and he hit the ground and he kind of started flopping into this thicket. And I was like, oh no. And I took off running. But we were running every direction. He was running. He shot at it. Boom. And then I shot at it. Boom. Just trying to finish it off. And then finally I ran across the ridge onto the next ridge and finally killed him and stomped his head.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
We run back and he's like, what do you want to do now? And it's like 7:45 and I've got a bird. He's got one. And I'm like, well, and he goes, he's like, I really don't want to quit turkey hunting. He's like, because like we're sitting there and like some more turkeys started gobbling, but you know, I'm tagged out and he can't kill one for another 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, he's like, I really don't want to quit turkey hunting. I was like, and we got sitting there. He goes, you know, my deer camp is only like 20 minutes away from here in Arkansas on the other side, you know, on the Arkansas side. And I was like, well, let's go to your deer camp hunt. He goes, all right. So we get there, you know, and his dad and his grandpa and his brothers there and everything, and they'd been hunting and they hadn't been hearing much or whatever. And we pulled up and we both had birds or whatever. And we were showing them, you know, and he was like, wow. He's like, so y'all gonna go hunting again? He goes, and Colin's like, let's hang out. He's like, we'll just hang out today, and you know, and we'll go hunting in the morning. You know, we'll skip another day and we'll go hunting in the morning. I'm like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, let's go right now. Let's go right now. So I finally talked him into, I mean, I had to beg him. He's like, dude, we ain't gonna eat. I'm like, dude, if you strike one in the afternoon, we're gonna kill him. He's like, all right, well, I'm like, we can either sit up here at the camp and have a 0% chance of killing one, or we can go out there in the woods and maybe double up again in Arkansas. How cool would that be? He's like, all right. So I finally talked him into it. And I get this Fitbit out, you know, I'm like, I asked him, I'm like, how far can we go? He's like, we can go wherever. He's like, I got, you know, he was showing, he had a map of the place. He was like, this is the property that we own. He's like, but they leased like every bit of ground around there. Like it was they had a big chunk of ground to hunt on.
Wow.
He's like, so we can go wherever you want. Like, he's like, literally, he's like, the highway is about 10 miles this way. He's like, we can go all the way to the highway.
Wow.
He's like, but there's just one farm that's over here. He's like, we don't lease this one. I'm like, all right, cool. So his brother or his dad drives us back there in the Polaris. And I mean, it's not a little bit of a drive. Like, it's not like he just drove us back there in 5 minutes and dropped us off. I mean, we drive to the back, and his dad was telling us, he's like, yeah, he's like, I've struck him in the afternoon. He's like, you get on this ridge and you walk it and everything like that. He's like, just get on this road and start walking. And he's like, you might strike one. He said, they're in there. You know, he's like, I know they're in there. And I'm like, all right. So we get on this ridge and we start walking, and it's hot. I mean, it's 85 degrees. We're in long sleeve camo, you know, dark colors. I mean, it is hot. And we're walking down this ridge, and I had got, right before we got out of that Ranger, I got that Fitbit out, and I'm like, I just want to know how far I put it on my wrist. I'm like, I want to know how far we go.
Mm-hmm.
So we get our guns and everything, and we take off walking. I had 2 foam decoys that I kept in my bag. And at the time, I didn't really like to hunt over decoys. And I still have mixed emotions about decoys. But, so, you know, we take off walking down this ridge, and we walk and we walk and we walk up and down, you know. I mean, we go down in a gully and then go up, and then we call a little bit, and then we keep on walking, you know. And the whole time, we're not calling the direction that we're walking. We're calling off the sides of the ridge, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to see if we get one down in that bottom, because it's the heat of the day. You know, you would think they're going to be down in bottoms. So we get to walking, and we sit. I just remember there was a giant tree. It was an old logging road we're walking down, and it's growed up with little trees, you know, and everything like that. And we sit on top of this giant oak tree, and we're just taking a break because we just got done walking up this giant gully that was like literally like try to walk up the side of your house. That's how steep it was. And so
I know what you mean, dude. Illinois.
God.
I know
we
what you
sit on
mean.
this tree, and he's like laying on top of the log, and I'm like sitting there just trying to catch my breath. We each had a bottle of water, you know, we were getting a drink and everything like that. We didn't really say anything to each other. We're just sitting there, you know, just in dead silence.
Yeah.
Didn't think about calling, didn't think about doing nothing. And I'm sitting there, and I thought I heard a gobble. You know, I thought I heard a turkey gobble. And I looked at him. I said, "Did you hear that?" He goes, "No, what?" And I said, "I thought I heard a turkey gobble." He goes, really? I said, yeah. And I was like, hold on. I pulled my mouth call out of my pocket and I popped it in my mouth, and I just, because you could just barely hear it. I mean, it was a ways off. I popped it in my mouth and I just, about 3 notes and then stopped, hoping that he would cut me off. And sure enough, he heard it and I heard it. And I was like, that's a turkey. He goes, yeah. I said, well, what do you want to do? He goes, let's just keep following this road until we get closer to it. He's like, we'll walk 100 yards and we'll call. Then we'll walk 100 yards. And then when he gets a little bit louder, we'll listen. So we get to walking and walking and walking, and we come to where this road ends. Like it literally goes to a dead end, and it's nothing but woods. And it goes downhill into this giant valley as a cow pasture. And you could kind of see, the trees were kind of greened up, and you could kind of see down in there, but you couldn't really just see it great. Mm-hmm. And I called, and you could hear that turkey gobbling down there somewhere. And I was looking around, and I was like, well, how much further can we go? He goes, that one piece of property I said that we don't have? I said, yeah. He's like, this is it. And there was a fence right there.
Oh.
And he goes, this is it. This is as close as we can get. And I go, well, all right. Well, I'm like, well, let's sit down. And I sat down. We sat down right around 2:00 in the afternoon. We struck him at about 1:30. And we sit down, call, turkey gobbles every single time. It was the most I've ever heard a turkey gobble. I mean, he was just gobbling the gobble. He would gobble at us, and he would just get a little bit closer, just every 15 minutes or so. You'd hear him getting just a little bit closer. I'm like, well, he's coming this way. And when I wouldn't call at him, he'd just gobble, and he'd just sit there in one spot and gobble. So I literally had to call him about like a duck all the way in. But we sat down at 2:00 in the afternoon, and we're on Colin's place, and I told him, I've done killed 2 turkeys. He killed 1. I said, if one comes in here, you shoot it. He goes, all right. So, and I had a video of it on my phone forever, and I'm pretty sure I still got the video somewhere on my laptop. But he started to film, and I'm like, I told him, give my phone, turn it on record, lean it up against a tree or something like that. And he did, and he was recording the back of his boot the whole time, the top side of his boot. Uh-huh. But the commentary in the video is priceless. It is absolutely priceless. And you can hear this turkey gobbling and like him getting closer. And finally, you hear him whisper. I mean, it was an 18-minute video, and you can hear us talking. I'm like, I think he's going away, or I think he's going around us, or whatever. And he gets to walking towards us and everything, and he comes up this draw, and he goes, I see him out there strutting. I see him strutting. And I was like, how far is he? He goes, he ain't close enough yet. And I called, and he gobbled and shook the woods, and he started to come up through there. And we'd stuck them 2 foam decoys that I had out in the woods. It was a jack decoy and a hen decoy. And he comes right to them decoys. I mean, he's coming on a string. The wind hadn't been blowing at all that afternoon. As a matter of fact, it hadn't blown the whole day. And it just so happened that just right when that turkey come up to the decoys, I mean, he's about to shoot. There was a big oak tree in our way. He could kind of see it. I couldn't see the turkey at all. But the turkeys just needs to come just a few more steps, and just a gust of wind happens, and the jack decoy blows over. Uh-huh. And you can hear it in the video. You can hear it in the video, but the turkey, he starts going, and then you hear him flying off, and he flew off on my side, on the right side. I was sitting on the right side, and he was sitting on the left. And I looked at Colin, and he's just watching the turkey fly off, and my duck hunting skills kicked in. And I just threw my gun up and shot in his direction. And there was just one gap where this old fence went through the woods right there. And I just shot, and he folded up just dead as a doornail. And you can hear Colin go,
beautiful.
And you can hear Colin go, oh, my God. And I was like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm like, we've been sitting here forever calling him. There's no way I'm going to. He goes, that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He's like, I'm not mad at all. He's like, that was freaking awesome. And I was like, I'm sorry. But then you see him pick up my phone and he's videoing me, and like you get that the whole I'm sorry, dude, and everything on camera. And then I walk up there and he goes to the turkey and he grabs the beard. He goes, dude, this thing's got double beards. And I was like,
What?
really? He goes, yeah. And I looked, and he had a 10-inch beard and a 9-inch beard. And his spurs, one of his spurs were 1.25 inches, and the other spur was almost 1.25 inches.
Wow.
And I took it to a taxidermist that night. Like literally, we picked the bird up. Oh, that was another thing. So we're walking out, and we walked back there, and I looked at this Fitbit, going back to the Fitbit thing.
Yeah.
I looked, we walked 7.4 miles.
Oh,
Goodness.
And we walk out of there with this turkey, and this is a big turkey. I mean, we weighed him. He was like 22.5 pounds. Biggest turkey I've ever killed.
Wow.
Real big turkey for our parts. And I take him, and you got to stand in just the right spot to get signal up there. Like you get zero signal unless you're standing in the right spot. It's either all or nothing. So we get in the right spot to about where his dad dropped us off, and he called his brother. He goes, hey, come pick us up. He goes, y'all killed turkey? He goes, yeah, Kade killed one. And we're sitting there waiting for his brother to come pick us up on the Ranger. And we're like talking about it. He's like, dude, I'm freaking pumped. He's like, I didn't even kill it. He's like, that was awesome. He goes, that was probably the best hunt I've ever been on. I was like, it was for sure the best hunt I've ever been on. And we're sitting there talking, and then we hear another one, oh, right there by us. And I was like, what? And then about that time, you hear the Ranger coming up, and I'm like, no. And like his brother pulls up there, he goes, wow, y'all got a turkey? Just being loud. And he goes, yeah. He's like, take this turkey. He's like, take it back up to the camp. Get out of here. There's another one gobbling right here. And we get set up on this other turkey, and he's gobbling his brains out. And we call him up to us. We get off in the woods. This is like 100 yards from where we'd walk, where we'd started hiking. And we sit down and we call. This turkey's just gobbling his brains out. And we get him coming through the woods, and I had it on video. He's coming through the woods. He's coming right at us, and it's getting dark. And he just stops out there about 100 yards in front of us. And he's just gobbling. And he wouldn't come no closer. And then he flies up in a tree right there. Or he turns around and he flies up in a tree on top of this ridge away from us. And like he just gobbles on the roost. And he goes, man. And I go, well, that would have been too good to be true if we just killed two, like that. Or we killed two this morning in Missouri and then two this afternoon,
Wow.
He's like, wow, that was by far the greatest turkey hunt I've ever been on. I've got that turkey. That's the only turkey that I've ever like full body mounted on a tree limb. It's over at my mom's house. I can't fit it in my little house. So I got it over at my mom's house still. And I'm working on my Rio and my Merriam and my Osceola and all that. So, but yeah.
That's not even just turkey hunting. That's one of the best hunting stories I've ever heard. That's awesome.
That is so cool.
Damn.
So
that
cool.
was all right.
Yeah.
So like if you are new and you're
that was by far the hardest that I've ever worked to kill any animal, to hunt any animal. That was the top notch. But a lot of times you don't get to hunt them, on private land and just get to go, wherever. A lot of people got 100 or 200 acres, and you always hear, you hear it from everybody that's a turkey hunter. Yeah, he was over on the neighbor's property.
Yeah.
And if we had permission, and everybody you talk to that owns property anywhere in the United States, anywhere, it's always, man, they're over on the neighbor's place, and he don't let nobody hunt. It's every turkey hunter story, but like that was just a miracle right there. It never works out that way.
Wow. Goodness, man. So switching gears. So like, if you are like, what's your recommendation? If you're a new turkey hunter out there, obviously you're going to have your camo boots, all that shit. But like starting with you're out there with 12 gauge. You want to get a turkey choke, right?
Right.
All right. Is there any preference of any like certain style is it a full choke?
I don't really have a preferable choke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got some that I like. So Rob Roberts sells a turkey choke that I got in my turkey gun, and I shoot that Apex ammunition. Now it's some expensive ammunition, but you got to think, a lot of people say that box of ammo, 5 shots for $60, and they're like, oh my God, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You also got to think, it's not like a duck where you're burning 5 shells every time you go hunting. You're going for that one moment. You're pulling the trigger that one.
What's that moment worth to you?
Yeah, exactly. What's that moment worth to you? You're gonna throw, and I'm not saying cheap ammo doesn't work.
I do the same shit with my arrows and stuff, dude. I understand. And broadheads, I do the same shit with my bow hunting equipment. Right.
Well, it's what's that moment worth to you? Exactly. Exactly what you're saying. I've got, and I'm not saying you can't kill them with cheap ammo. I shot, there was a 5, 6, and 7 blend. It was called Triple Beard. And it was made by Heavy Shot, and it used to be, pre-Biden, it used to be, like $25 a box, and it was like 10 shots for $25, which wasn't like exactly cheap, but it was a lot cheaper than $60 for 10 or for 5 shots. But and you got to understand, I come from a place, if you get I've killed 5, that was one of them right there. I've killed 5 turkeys in the state of Arkansas, I think 4 or 5, my entire life. And
well, that's a feat in itself.
Yeah, and it's hard enough and I live here,
right.
And I mean, it's really something when you kill one around here. So if I'm going to shoot one, I'm going to use top-notch stuff. I want ammo that I can use in any scenario. You hear about these guys shooting these turkeys at 100 yards and stuff like that.
What? Our partners at Huntwise are offering an exclusive discount for Zero Duck 30 followers. As an elite member, some of the features you'll immediately gain access to are Huntcast, Windcast, peak kill times, property lines, owner information and phone lookup, 250 map layers, unlimited offline maps, 3D maps, social media, and on top of it all, save up to 50% on some of the top hunting brands in the industry. Download and explore the #1 hunting tool set today and save 20% by using code DUCK30.
There's people that do that. Yeah,
never heard of that.
They got some. If you buy a certain choke, I don't know what it is, and buy a certain kind of ammunition, it might be Apex. I know that Apex ammunition is known for shooting turkeys at long distances. I don't really buy it for that. What I buy it for is impact. When you shoot them at 40 yards, you're going to shoot them good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to kill them really good.
Yeah.
You don't want to wound some people want to shoot them at. My thing is I'm not going to shoot it if it's 100 yards. I had 2 this year. I called 2 giant gobblers up the second afternoon that I hunted in Alabama this year. And the closest they got was 71 yards is what my rangefinder said. And I was shooting, now I didn't have my 12 gauge. I was shooting my 20 gauge Super Black Eagle 3. And they say that you can kill them with that 20 gauge stuff that far, but I just don't feel comfortable taking that shot.
Yeah.
If I had my 12 gauge, I'm still not sure if I'd have took that shot. I would have thought about it harder if I'd have had my 12 gauge, but I just don't feel, I would rather kill that turkey dead than shoot it and just knock some feathers out of it, and then it just be a hard bird to hunt for me or anybody else trying to hunt that bird,
Right.
the rest of the season. If I'm gonna shoot, I'm gonna make an ethical shot,
Yep.
And that's just me. I know some people that are they're gonna pull the trigger. They get a chance, they pull the trigger.
Yep. So
I'm just like,
but you got your setup. So you got your gun, you got your choke, you got your ammo. Get a hand foam foldable turkey decoy. I imagine. But I guess the next thing is
I don't carry any of those anymore. I don't carry any of the foam decoys anymore, just because they seem like they get. I mean, some people do. I hunt with some people that do, but they just seem to get in the way more when I'm running around. And when the decoy fell over and that turkey spooked off, I mean, he should have came right in. It was in the ground up there in the mountains. There's more rock than there is dirt. It's hard to get a stake in the ground.
We experienced that in Georgia.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I just don't carry one just because of that. I'd rather, sometimes it depends on the scenario. Like if you're hunting in a wide open field, to me, if you're hunting in a wide open field, decoys can help you. If you're hunting in the woods, I wouldn't even worry about using a decoy unless they're wide open woods. If it's any kind of thick woods, I wouldn't even worry about hunting with a decoy. If you're hunting on the edge of a field or in a road or something like that, I would recommend a decoy. If you're gonna be in something any kind of thick, just let him come to you calling, and sometimes you're going to lose. Sometimes he's going to just stay in the thick stuff and you'll never get a shot at him. But that's the beauty in turkey hunting. You can't just go out and kill one.
Right.
A
lot of strategy involved.
At least here you can't. I mean, I got people, like I said, I refer back to my people in Illinois. Man, you can kill turkey. I can sit down in 5 minutes and kill turkey. Well, I guarantee you couldn't come to Arkansas and do it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a great quote I saw this week that was this guy with the turkey in Florida, and he's like, they have to get it right every time. I only have to get it right once. And I was like, damn, that's true.
That is true. So, but probably one of the most important parts of turkey hunting, and Tristan and I just recently experienced this after work this week, is the ability to not call, especially on public land. But a lot of people, they want to get into the sport. They want to learn how to call. What's the easiest kind of call for somebody to pick up? Is it a mouth call? What kind? Is it a box call? What's the easiest that if you said, hey, you got limited funds, you want to just go out and get a turkey call, what would you get?
I'm going to tell you, just like I'd tell anybody about a duck call. People ask me all the time when they come on a guy to duck hunt with me, what kind of call you blow? What do you like? What do you like? What do I need to buy? Do I need to buy a single reed, double reed? What do I need to buy? I'm going to tell you same thing about a turkey call. This goes for duck call, whatever. It's what you need to just get something, and all summer long, just when you're driving around, you're on a road trip, make sure you're by yourself or everybody riding with you will kill you.
That's the truth.
Right.
Just practice, and it might sound like just terrible, and then just one day you'll put it in your mouth and you'll just hit it one way and you'll be like, oh, and then you'll make it a habit, and then you can't even remember how you've been hitting it,
Yep.
And it'll just be a natural thing. You'll pop it in, and every call's different. Like I like Woodhaven diaphragm calls. I really like their calls. It's a Steve Scott cutter is what I got. They used to make one. It was called like a red wasp or a yellow jacket or something like that, and they discontinued it, and I hated it and I've still got mine, but it's wore out. It doesn't sound anything like it originally did, and it's worn out. It doesn't sound like it originally did, and I've got it taped on the back of my turkey mount of that one that story I just told y'all about,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
the
that's
double
cool.
beard. I literally taped it on the back of the mount so I can remember what call I used.
That's cool.
And yeah, so, and they don't sell them anymore. But I found that Steve Scott's cutter is what it's called. I got one of those last year and I liked it. I took it to Alabama and the turkeys were just not being very vocal. I've killed turkeys the last 2 years in a row in Alabama, and the turkeys weren't being very vocal, and they just what I did is I'd find a place with plenty of sign, tracks, stuff like that. I asked the guys that I was hunting on, I'm like, hey, where do you normally see them? Where'd you see them during deer season? Where have you killed them in the past, in the springs and everything like that? I asked a bunch of questions. When you can't hear them, just go where your gut tells you to, and, because I only got a limited time, they're there all season. They can wait for a day that they gobble and they're doing it right.
Right.
I've only got 4 or 5 days that I'm going to be there. I got to make it happen while I'm there. They're there the whole season. I'm there for a limited time, and so I pretty much I sit down, I'll get a ground blind, I'll sit down, I'll call about once every 30 minutes. And what I'll kind of do is every turkey hunter in the world does a basic yelp, just a yep, 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 just a basic yelp. I won't do not a single yelp at all. All I'll do is purr and cluck, and I'll do it for like 2 minutes straight. I'll just purr with some clucks in it, and just purr and then cluck. And I can't tell you how many times I've sat out there at 1 o'clock and then by 4 o'clock had something happen, see a hen or see some jakes or have one gobble right close to me,
Well, and tell me if I'm wrong, but when you're purring and clucking every once in a while, that's like mimicking like a turkey just like chilling out, kind of, just eating whatever.
That's what I try to do. I just try to mimic some turkeys just being turkeys, You don't have to mimic them looking for a mate all the time,
Right.
And that's what a lot of people do. But that's just my preference on that,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I killed a lot of turkeys just, doing that, and a lot of people especially people from the state that I'm in, what they do is they walk around and try to strike one. Well, you're not going to get one to strike every day.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to hunt them. I've hunted them in Mississippi and done it. I've hunted them in Alabama and done it. I've done it in Missouri a lot of times on days that they just didn't gobble, but I still killed one because I sat there and I just mimicked turkeys just being tried to mimic sounds of turkeys just being turkeys. And I'm no expert.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just telling people, that's the way I've been successful. There might be somebody out there that can do something, and there might be somebody out there that can do something and get a turkey to gobble, I'll tell you that Michael Waddell, bone collector guy, if y'all ever have him on the podcast and you don't invite me on at the same time, I will disown you. I'll delete you on Facebook. I'll do everything.
Hey, bro, do you know that I've got a bone collector tattoo on my left shoulder? You know that?
Well, I'll tell you this, and I think I told you guys this a few weeks ago, but I was sitting down before I went to Alabama. I was sitting down one night and I was watching, them guys on TV.
Uh-huh.
And I was watching Michael Waddell hunt in Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what time of the year it was, whatever, but he was taking somebody hunting on their place or whatever. And I can just tell you, you just have to be around a bunch of turkeys to know what to do in that scenario. Because I'll tell you this, I wouldn't have known what to do.
Yeah.
But they're sitting in the woods. He's got this guy out there. He's pointing that the turkeys are gobbling, and they're in the woods. And there's like a ridge in front of them. And he's calling, and these turkeys are gobbling at him. And then they start coming toward him, And he's like, all right, here they are right here. And you can see them through the woods right there. And there's 4 gobblers standing there on top of this ridge. And he goes, can you see them? He's like, yeah. He's like, all right. He's like, maybe they'll come in a little bit closer. And them turkeys, they came up over that ridge. And this is how I can tell they did not make this up. This is real. I've seen turkeys do this in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
But these turkeys come up over this ridge. They don't have a decoy out. They don't have nothing out. And the turkeys kind of look around, and they don't see a decoy. They don't see a hen. They don't see nothing. So they start walking not away from them, but to their left. The turkey's right, their left. They start walking left down this ridge. And Michael goes, all right. He goes, hold on. He said, I'm going to try something. He said, if this works, get ready. And that was where it struck me right there, because I was like, what's he about to do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he makes this sound with this turkey call. I can't even explain it, but he does something with that call. And one of those 4 gobblers just turns and makes a beeline right toward him, starts running. And this is thick stuff that's right in front of him. But he just comes running through this thick stuff, and you can't even, if you tried to walk through this stuff, it would take, you'd be taking your time trying not to get, a briar hung, in you or something like that. But this turkey makes a beeline, and the dude that he's calling it up for shoots it at maybe 10 yards,
Wow.
dead. And then the other 3 are just standing there, and he just, and he calls a little bit, and the turkeys just stand there and they gobble and act like nothing happens. But they didn't end up killing another one. The 3 kind of walked off, and then they were sitting there just talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, you just have to be around some turkeys to know what to do in that scenario.
Yeah.
And that's my advice. Anybody new to turkey hunting, it's not something that you just go out there and try one time. It's not something that you go out there and try in one season. The first turkey I ever killed was in 2003 or 4, whatever I said earlier. And I didn't kill another one until 2011.
Wow.
That was when I killed my first true longbeard, big longbeard. And I hunted every year, every spring, every weekend of season. Skipped school some days to go hunting. Went every day and did not kill one from then to 2011. And it's just something, if you want to do it, you got to really learn to love it. But it's not really turkey hunting. It's not really pulling the trigger that gets you to keep coming back. It's the hearing them gobble and being able, they got all them hens out there to go to, and you're going to trick him to come to you. You're going to you're fooling him to think that you're one of them. That's the challenge in it,
Yeah.
And
The strategy.
Yeah. And it's a strategy, and it's addictive. It's, I tell everybody that hunts waterfowl that comes with me there, I'm like, you turkey hunt? Mainly I ask them that, do you maybe get to go turkey hunting somewhere that I can be. A lot of them be like, no, I just duck hunt. I like duck hunt. And I'm like, well, have you ever turkey hunted? That'll be my second question. And they'll be like, no. And I'll be like, well, don't start. It's a lot like drugs. I ain't never done them, but there's people that do them and they can't quit doing them. And I guess that's my drug, is hunting turkeys.
Dude,
I spend a lot of time and a lot of money going places to hunt them.
dude.
And I do it every year that I can, every year that I'm able, and I'm doing it, while I'm still young, going out to Kansas. I figured out today that I'm gonna go back to Kansas. I didn't kill one in Kansas, and I'm gonna go back to a different part of Kansas and hunt Easterns because I already got the license bought and everything, So
Yeah, there you go.
I'm pretty jacked to do that.
You said something earlier about you'd have to be in that scenario to know what to do, and anybody, Kate, I'm sure you've gone through. You miss a deer, or you wound a deer, or you miss a turkey or whatever, and afterwards you're walking back to the truck and you're thinking in your head, man, what could I would have done different?
What should have, could have.
And after the other night when that situation with that turkey in Georgia didn't work out for me and my dad, I'm sitting there in my head just thinking, man, what could I have done different, like, to make it work? And I'm thinking,
see, that's the beauty in missing anything. Anything you hunt, ducks, geese, turkeys, deer, doesn't matter. Elephants, whatever you're hunting, you're gonna think. If you do something wrong, you're gonna think about it, and it's gonna discipline you to where you won't do it again. And if it does happen again, you're gonna make an adjustment to make sure it never happens again.
So that's where I was kind of going with this, and I told my dad the exact same thing you just said, because I was thinking in my head, I was like, man, with deer hunting, we've been doing this so long that there's little things, that I know I could get away with, or I might try to do if whatever the scenario may dictate with deer hunting. And I'm like, with turkey hunting, I have no frame of reference. I've never been in this situation ever,
right?
And you brought that up, and that's like spot on. You just got to cut your teeth,
You do. You just got to go out there and cut your teeth, just like anything else, I guess, man. But
that's the thing. You do it, and then it doesn't work. Go back to the drawing board. Try again.
Mm-hmm.
Say, all right, this is what I did. This is what we're going to do, but we're going to do it this way this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I definitely, if there's anything I take away from this season, if I don't get a bird this season, I definitely have learned that playing their pattern and just being quiet, if that's what they're doing, that's what I'm doing. And on public land, Cade kind of gave us the advice and stuff over the last couple of days, and that was my big takeaway from this season was there's a pattern established. Let's go hunt the pattern, number one. And so we spent time to go establish that pattern. Mm-hmm. You find that pattern and then safely hunt that pattern. Don't overhunt it, don't overcall it. Play it very safe. And we had our opportunity. Almost, but that's what we can all say about several deer hunts or turkey hunts. So it was a good time.
And that's the bad thing about public land, man. Is a lot of people can go in and hunt them, and they'll just not talk, and they'll get smart. They'll figure out where people are going, and they'll go where they're not going. And then all it takes is one dude to get in there. One dude to figure out, all right, them turkeys are coming through here. Well, then they'll change up and they'll go somewhere else. I mean, it's just crazy what they do, man. Yeah. And that's another thing, some years you feel like you're winning. I had one year, the best year I ever had turkey hunting was that same year that I was telling you about when I killed that big one. I killed a bird in Arkansas. I killed 2 in Missouri. I killed 2 in Kansas. I killed 1 in Alabama, I think.
Wow.
That year. I killed 1 and I killed 2 in Mississippi, I think.
Wow.
If it's the same year that I'm thinking that was the first year I hunted Mississippi. And where else I killed 1 and I killed 2 in Tennessee. And that was the best year that I'd ever had. I mean, might be it's still my best year to this date. And I've been to Alabama and I've been to Kansas so far, and I have pulled the trigger. I shot at 1 in Kansas on the last day.
With your bow?
Last light. Yeah, with a bow. That's another thing. It's not like we're going out there with a shotgun. We'd have put them down, buddy. If we'd had shotgun, there was 5 of us. I know we'd have killed 5 birds.
Wow.
I know for a fact. Everybody I went with, my buddy Scott killed 1. Everybody shot at 1. I the one I shot at, it was at 60 yards. And I mean, I don't have a 60-yard pin. I got a 25, 35, and 45.
Mm-hmm.
And I just put it right over the top of them. It was the last day, last light, last hunt. And I was like, you know what? I'm either going to try it or I'm not going to try it, And he had his head turned away from me. And I put that 45-yard pin on his head and I shot, and it went just to the left of him, just a little bit, just straight up missed him. I mean, just a straight up miss.
Oh man.
And
close.
But
close
that was all there was to that.
Cool deal, man. Well, man, thanks for getting on here tonight and talking with us and everything else. And we can't get out of here without mentioning duck hunting. Your books are open. People are starting to book up and get some of your best dates, and kind of run through that for us.
Yeah, we got a lot more ground releasing this year, and books are open. I mean, I've got some dates filled. I've got some people that have called me that may or may not call me back. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But there's plenty of available dates right now. There's more, we got more. We'll be able to take in more people this year. We got a new guy working for us. I hope he works out. He sounds pretty good. We'll see. And yeah, that's about it. We got.
We're looking at what, $200
sure.
$200 a hunter a day and $50 per hunter deposit per day.
It's $200 a gun, with a $50 deposit per person per day. So it's $200 a person per day. So pretty much you pay $50 a person per day before you get here, and then when you get here, you pay $150. It adds up to $200 person per day. The deposit's 25%. Lodging is $40 a night when you get here up on arrival. We got spec open. We got plenty of duck hunting open. Snow goose is getting full actually.
Wow.
I've got some not many weekends left. Some week dates, not many weekends available, and we're still not sure about teal yet because I'm trying to do a combination of dove and teal, and I'm still working on the dove hunting stuff. I got a spot. I'm just waiting on the farmer to say yes or no. And pretty much, yeah. If we can get that, then we'll do morning teal hunts, afternoon dove hunts, and that'll be fun. That'll be
rocking and rolling. I would love
Good
to
deal,
do that.
man. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Cool deal, man. Well, dude, thanks for taking time to be out with us on the show tonight, and we really appreciate it. And where can everybody reach you at, Kade? At Delta Thunder Outfitters on Facebook, Instagram, and what's your phone number?
870-926-7944.
Right on. Tristan?
Good deal, man. Well, Kade, we appreciate it, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon. Cade's getting married here in about 5 weeks.
We might have me, Tristan might have to do a podcast at Cade's wedding. No, I'm just kidding.
It'd be fine by me. Can we talk about turkey hunting again?
No, we're gonna put Morgan on one mic and you on the other.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right, brother. You take care. Have a good evening.
All right, man.
All right, man. Thanks, Kade.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.